Welcome to this webinar on positive discipline. My interest is not merely professional in this, but also personal, because I had a horrible time in primary school. Physically, emotionally, verbally abused. That standard. So I am more committed to spread this message of positive discipline to all teachers, because any schooling system has got no right to demotivate a child and spoil the well-being of a child. Now, let's take a look at this statement. Children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for their elders, and they love chatter in the place of exercise. Children are now tyrants, not the servants of their households. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their legs, and tyrannize over their teachers. Looks like the complaint of a current parent or an adult. But you'll be surprised to know that this was told by Socrates roughly 4 centuries before Christ. So this has been a long-standing issue. I'm going to base my topic on 3 resources primarily. The first one is from the Positive Discipline in the Inclusive Learning Friendly Classroom, a guide for teachers and teacher educators, UNESCO Bangkok 2006, and this quote is from that book. Punishment is an action, penalty, that is imposed on a person for breaking a rule or showing improper conduct. Punishment aims to control behavior through negative means. There are 2 types of punishment. Punishment involving negative verbal reprimands and disapproval, and it is called as negative discipline. Punishment involving severe physical or emotional pain, as in corporal punishment. It's very unfortunate because both forms of this punishment focus on the misbehavior and may do little or nothing to help a child behave better in future. Moreover, the child learns that the adult is superior, and the use of force, be it verbal, physical, or emotional, is acceptable, especially over younger, weaker persons. This lesson can lead to incidents of bullying and violence in school, where older children dominate younger ones and force them into giving the bullies money, food, homework, or other valuable items. The next resource I am depending on is from the positivediscipline.com, Jane Nelson, and she devised a program designed to teach young people to become responsible, respectful, and resourceful members of the communities. It teaches important social and life skills in a manner that is deeply respectful and encouraging for both children and adults, including parents, teachers, child care providers, youth workers, and others. Effective discipline helps children feel a sense of connection, that is, belonging and significance. It is mutually respectful and encouraging, being kind and firm at the same time. It is effective long term, considers what the child is thinking, feeling, learning, and deciding about himself and his world, and what to do in the future to survive or to thrive. It teaches important social and life skills: respect, concern for others, problem solving, and cooperation, as well as the skills to contribute to the home, school, or larger community. Positive discipline teaches adults to employ kindness and firmness at the same time and is neither punitive nor permissive. This seems to be the anchor around which positive discipline revolves. Coming to the tools and concept of positive discipline, as told by Jane Nelson: mutual respect. Adults model firmness by respecting themselves and the needs of the situation, and kindness by respecting the needs of the child. Identifying the belief behind the behavior. Effective discipline recognizes the reasons kids do what they do and works to change those beliefs rather than merely attempting to change behavior. Effective communication and problem-solving skills are the important tools here, as discipline that teaches is neither permissive nor punitive. It focuses on solutions instead of punishment, encouragement instead of praise. Encouragement notices effort and improvement, not just success, and builds long-term self-esteem and empowerment. Now we are going to see the basic differences between discipline and punishment. Discipline is giving children positive alternatives, whereas punishment is being told only what not to do. Discipline is acknowledging or rewarding efforts and good behavior, whereas punishment is reacting harshly to misbehavior. When children follow rules because they are discussed and agreed upon, that is called discipline, and punishment is when children follow rules because they are threatened or bribed. Discipline is consistent, firm guidance, whereas punishment is controlling, shaming, and ridiculing. Discipline, positive, respectful of the child, whereas punishment is negative and disrespectful of the child. Discipline is physically and verbally non-violent, whereas punishment is physically and verbally violent and aggressive. Discipline talks about logical consequences that are directly related to the misbehavior, whereas punishment talks about consequences that are unrelated and illogical to the misbehavior. Discipline is when children must make amends when their behavior negatively affects someone else, whereas punishment when children are punished for hurting others rather than shown how to make amends. Discipline is about understanding individual abilities, needs, circumstances, and developmental stages, whereas punishment, inappropriate to the child's developmental stage of life, individual circumstances, abilities, and needs are not taken into consideration. Discipline teaches children to internalize self-discipline, whereas punishment teaches children to behave well only when they risk getting caught doing otherwise. Discipline is directed at the child's behavior, never the child. Your behavior was wrong, whereas punishment criticizes the child rather than child's behavior. You are very stupid. You are wrong. So that sums up the differences between discipline and punishment. 7 principles for positive child discipline. First is to respect the child's dignity. Develop pro-social behavior, self-discipline, and character. Maximize the child's active participation. Respect the child's developmental needs and quality of life. Respect the child's motivation and life needs. Assure fairness, that is equity and non-discrimination and justice. And promote solidarity. Positive discipline is a 4-step process. The appropriate behavior is described. Example, everyone, quiet down now please. The second is, clear reasons are provided. We are going to start our mathematics lesson and everyone needs to listen closely. This means that quieting down quickly will show respect for others. It is a good example of treating others as you would like them to treat you. The third step is where acknowledgement is requested. Do you see why quieting down is so important? Or can we talk without disrupting others on their opportunity to learn the lesson? And finally, the correct behavior is reinforced. Eye contact, a nod, a smile, an extra 5 minutes of playtime at the end of the day, extra credit points, having a success mentioned in front of the class or school, that is social recognition, that is the greatest award. When rewards are used, they should always be immediate, small, yet gratifying. The operative word is contingent on behavior, and never before behavior. Actually, the difference between reward and the bribe is that much. Bribe is given before the behavior, whereas reward is given after the behavior, but immediately. The third resource which I depend upon for this topic is from the University of Missouri, where N.G. Fletcher, the Regional Specialist for Human Development and Family Science. This particular resource is more close to my heart because it's more therapeutic and medical in nature. So let's take a look at this. Every adult who cares for children has a responsibility to guide, correct, and socialize them towards appropriate behaviors. These actions often are called child guidance and discipline. Positive guidance and discipline are crucial for children because they promote self-control, teach responsibility, and help them make thoughtful choices. The more effective adult caregivers are at encouraging appropriate child behavior, the less time and effort they will spend correcting misbehavior. Family specialists agree that using force, threats, and put downs can interfere with a child's healthy development. Family specialists also agree that there is no perfect formula that answers all questions about discipline. You cannot have one rule for all people. It requires a lot of innovative techniques, feedback and corrections. Children are as unique as the families they belong to. A discipline strategy that works with one child may not work with another. It requires enormous amount of observation, creative thinking, thinking outside the box. All these things you require when you want to use positive discipline. Teaching children self-discipline is a demanding task. One of the fundamental differences between a child and an adult, children have a primary process of thinking which focuses on the present moment totally, whereas adults have secondary process of thinking where the consequence of the present act is thought over and pondered, and that is the primary difference. So, teaching children self-discipline can be a very, very demanding task. It requires enormous amount of understanding and patience. It requires patience, thoughtful attention, cooperation, and a good understanding of the child. It also requires knowledge of one's own strengths and struggles with disciplinary issues. A child counselor, one of the foremost things I always insist, they have to have an enormous amount of emotional intelligence, which means accurate self-awareness, which is a constant process, followed by self-regulation, the ability to postpone frustration, to modulate behavior. All this require tremendous amount of emotional intelligence. In fact, the first two steps are self-awareness, self-regulation, followed by social skills and empathy. So, if you are a counselor and if you are going to try positive discipline, I suggest that you develop self-awareness by reflecting at the end of the day your counseling sessions, your ups and downs, your achievements and your failures. Journaling, scribing is very important. Early morning or late in the evening, when you reflect on what you did, your self-awareness increases. Without self-awareness, there is no self-regulation. And the second foremost thing is empathy. Empathy is a huge topic. I don't think I'll be able to go into at this stage, but empathy is not to feel for the child, but to feel with the child or feel along with the child. That I think is some of the basic idea of what is empathy is all about. Child misbehavior is impossible to prevent completely. Curiosity and explorative behavior are the hallmarks of childhood. Any discipline which compromises explorative behavior is in the long term is not going to be helpful at all. That is where the judicial mixture, where you allow children to explore, but explore safely without harming itself or others. So, child misbehavior is impossible to prevent completely. Children, usually curious and endlessly creative, are likely to do things parents and other caregivers will not expect. The kind of questions they ask is amazing. The child asked the teacher, "What is the weight of planet Earth?" Teacher was taken aback, but she went, Googled, exhaustively did the research, and then triumphantly came out with the final figure, the weight of the planet Earth, and came and declared in the class, "Your question, this is the answer." The child answered back, "Is it with the human beings on or without the human beings on?" Off. So they can think and think and think. The other child asked, "What will happen if the earth is not rotating?" The teacher said, "It will fall." The child put back, "Fall where?" So, like their questioning and their behavior, endlessly creative. We are not going to produce a child who is very disciplined, but absolutely non-creative. Is a waste. However, there are many positive steps adults can take to minimize misbehavior, at the same time encourage creative explorations. This is where we give you some basic ideas to try. As I told you, there is no secret mantra or formula, but whatever you're going to find successful, you're going to find somewhere here. Set clear, consistent rules. Explain. Spend some time. Why? Make it clear. Make sure the child understands. Spend some time on this step. Make certain the environment is safe and worry-free. Show interest in the child's activities. When you share activity with child, you gain absolute confidence of the child. And that is the best way to empathize, and that's the best way to give directions indirectly, non-formally. So show interest in the child's activities. Provide appropriate and engaging playthings. Because many a time, in schools especially, it's quick to dash off a line saying, "disrupts other children." And that carries a lot of stigma. And nowadays, people are very quick to declare, this child is hyperactive. And when we examine the child, it is actually normal for the child age, appropriate behavior, movements. So, we have to be very careful before dubbing a child as intruding somebody else's liberty or disrupting the class or having a hyperactive disorder, all those things. Encourage self-control by providing meaningful choices. Child should have a lot of choices. Like we say, open-ended questions as opposed to closed-ended questions. Like that, the child should be able to decide on many possible choices, not force a child into one particular decision. Focus on the desired behavior rather than the one to be avoided. As I think many of you should know by this time, any behavior which is rewarded appropriately and contingently in a varying schedule is likely to get repeated. And any behavior which is consistently punished is likely to become extinct. That is the heart of behavioral therapy. Now, this is not the age of behavioral therapy. We are more into cognitive therapies, rational emotive behavioral therapies, etc., etc. But once upon a time, behavioral therapy was ruling the roost. And it is very easy to control, but we never get the full impact of the child's potential on behavioral therapy. So it's always better to focus on the desired behavior. And in the business schools, they talk about this point, administering by walking around, eagerly waiting for a correct behavior and immediately praise in public. Generally, supervision involves pouncing upon a person when he is doing the wrong behavior and punishing in public. What we are suggesting is to look for opportunities where you can praise good behavior, and that reinforces that behavior again and again. So, focus on the desired behavior rather than the one to be avoided. Build the children's self-image as trustworthy, responsible, and cooperative. Holding out that idea, implying it, indicating it, suggesting it, sometimes verbalizing it, that I believe in you, you are capable, you can do it. Once again, people tend to overdo it. Always praise effort. Don't ever praise something which is not good. Expect the best from the child. Without you verbalizing, with facial expressions and body language and suggestions, you can pass on a negative message to the child that you are not okay. You have to be very conscious of what you are saying, what you are implying, and what you are expressing facially, and what is your body language. Part and parcel of self-awareness. One of the most crucial things in counseling, the qualities of a counselor, the skills of a counselor, is to be aware what you are talking and what you are doing and what emotion you are expressing and registering on your face. Expect the child to behave at the best level. Expect the best. Always expect the best. You have to be prepared for the worst all the time, but you have to expect the best. Give clear directions, one at a time. These are the common mistakes adults do. They give multiple instructions. The child gets confused. Sometimes multiple caregivers giving contradictory instructions. So, the direction should be clear and one at a time. Generally, we say, try to control or change one behavior at a time, not multiple behaviors. It takes time. If you have time, take a book on dolphin training and they will tell you about that. Say yes whenever possible and appropriate. It has been told generally, a child listens to the word no hundreds of times a day, and yes only few times a day. That has to be addressed. Say yes whenever possible and appropriate. Notice and pay attention to children when they do things right. When they are doing something right, immediately praise them, if possible in public, and reward them, small rewards. And I'm sure that will make the behavior get repeated. And always take action before a situation gets out of control. Be alert. All the time be alert. Like the Zen people say, alert, alert, yet relax, relax. Be encouraging. Always encourage a child when it is attempting, when the effort is being manifested, you have to encourage. That's why they give marks for steps in mathematics. Every step when you cross, you deserve encouragement and rewards. Set a good example. Children don't listen to what you say. They see what you are doing. They imitate. Your actions are so loud, they can't hear what you are telling. Help children see how their actions affect others. Children are enormously empathetic. If you can tap it correctly, that's the best way to discipline a child positively without any punishment. What are the possible reasons for a child to misbehave? There are many ideas, but a few things let us see. Child always, basically, it is very curious to know about the external environment, which includes caregivers. They constantly test whether caregivers will enforce rules. Are they making empty promises? Or they are saber rattling? Or do they really mean business? So they will, within limitations, try to force the borders and see at what level you crack. And they know next time which level they could stop short. They are enormously creative, believe me. Expectation differ between school and home. Sometimes at home, we are very liberal, sometimes very permissive. But school is totally different ballgame. And this confuses the child. One of the schools where I was visiting, the child came from a school where they were attempting positive discipline, where the teacher used to tell the child why it is made to stand on the corner for 2 minutes. And this child changed, the father changed the job, so the school changed. And in the new school, when the teacher asked to make the child stand in the corner, the child is asking teacher, why should I stand in the corner? Teacher got very angry. Are you questioning me? The child repeat, why should I stand in the corner? Why? Obviously, the teacher is not trained in positive discipline, and the whole thing ends with a tight slap on the face, and that's the end of positive discipline. Right? The child is asking, explain to me what I did wrong. That is what we are saying. Inadequate understanding of the rules are being held the expectation beyond their developmental levels. Expecting a 3-year-old child to sit straight in a chair for 3 hours during a movie show, not making any noise, is absolutely lunatic. So, age-appropriate expectations you must develop. We have to read about the developmental stages, what facilities they have, what the strengths they have, at what age, what capacities, what skill. All this is a part and parcel of training. If you are serious about being a child counselor or a positive discipline teacher or a parent. Children try to assert themselves constantly. They may appear small, but they want to be big mentally. So they want to assert themselves and their independence. And when you frustrate that, they lash back. Feeling ill, bored, hungry, or sleepy, they behave crankily. Lack of accurate information or prior experience will lead to misbehavior. Previously rewarded with attention for the misbehavior. When child is crying, a mother offers a chocolate. So the child now understands all that it has to do to get a chocolate is to cry. I don't know whether you have seen the video on YouTube where a 4-year-old male child falling on the ground, thrashing the hands and legs, mother cooking calmly in the kitchen. And after some time, mother walks off to the bedroom, totally ignoring the child. And this child gets puzzled. Then it gets up, walks 10 feet, goes to that bedroom, falls down there and starts kicking their hands and legs. Very funny, just have a look at that. Lastly, copying the actions of the parents. That is why we always tell If you have to have a marital fight, please have it in a closed bedroom where the child is not there in the box office witnessing the whole thing. I have to give you some time for discussion, questioning, so let me see. What are the techniques? Is the child really doing something wrong? Or is your frustration tolerance not that good? Is there a real problem? Or are you just tired and out of patience? This is a very fluid border. We have to be very careful about this. If there is no real problem, release your stress away from the child. Don't take it out on the child. If there is a problem, go to the next question which says, think for a moment about whether your child is actually capable of doing what you expect. If you are not being realistic, re-evaluate your expectations. A common example which I see, the parents tell the child about, let's say, studying 5th standard, 6th standard. The parent tells the child, we had a hard day's work at the office. Having come home, we want to enjoy TV for 1 hour. You go and study. You don't watch TV. That is not realistic. This is what we say. We have some privileges and rights which child doesn't have. No, wrong. Democracy prevails everywhere. If your expectations are fair, then go to the next question. Did your child know at that time that they're doing something wrong? If your child did not realize they're doing something wrong, help them to understand what you expect them to do and how they can do that. Offer to help because they didn't know. If your child knew what it is doing was wrong and intentionally disregarded a reasonable expectation, then alone you can say that he or they misbehave, the children. If the behavior was an accident, it was not a misbehavior. Recently I saw a video where a girl child accidentally drops food on the floor and the caretaker or ayah, whoever it is in the house, takes a cane and mercilessly beats the child. I think the video was Malaysia. Subsequently, they told me that that lady was arrested and taken to jail. But that beating, I know, it took me 3-4 days to overcome that. The child accidentally drops food on the floor. He didn't do it purposely at all. Sometimes accidents do happen. And in that case, it is not a misbehavior, especially for a child. If the behavior is not an accident, ask your child to tell you the reasons for doing what they did. Keeping your cool under a stressful situation, that is the best way to teach child how to behave later on. When you flap, when you start screaming, you lose control, you are no more authority figure, you are an entertainment piece. Keep that in mind next time when you deal with your child. If your child is old enough, ask how they might solve problem or correct the situation. Children develop by thinking through a situation and developing possible solutions. They are capable of a little bit of deep thinking also. The only thing we have to guide them and give them a chance. We are coming to the last portion of this webinar. How you respond to misbehavior. When child has definitely misbehaved. Responding to misbehavior, one is natural consequences. Allowing children to experience the consequences of the behavior is also called learning the hard way. For example, the child does not put a book back in a school bag after she finishes reading. One day she loses a book and therefore must find a way to replace it. Within natural limits, within normal limits, logical limits, sometimes it is good to make the child face the natural consequence. But the caveat there is use natural consequences when they will not endanger child's health or safety. A child playing with the electrical instrument, don't allow natural consequences. It can become fatal. The second is logical consequences. These are structured consequences that follow specific misbehaviors. The child should be able to see how the behavior and the consequence are directly related. I did this, therefore this happened to me or in outside. A teenager knows that if he stays out past his curfew on a school night, the parent will not allow him to go out with his friends over the weekend. Clear-cut rules and firm enforcement of rules. Having laid a rule with the child or teenager accepting it, and then when the breach happens of behavior, if you don't enforce the rule, the whole thing collapses. That is logical consequence. Fix up. If children damage something, they need to help fix it or clean it up. If they cause someone distress, they should help to relieve it. Example, now that you made your brother cry, please come apologize and help me to soothe him. Sometimes that is enough to make the child next time not irritate the brother. Time out. During time out, children are required to spend time alone in a specific place that has few, if any, rewarding characteristics. This strategy gives children a chance to reflect quietly on their behavior away from others. When giving a time out, be calm and firm. 1 minute for each year of the child's age is appropriate. 5-year-old child, 5 minutes. 7-year-old child, 7 minutes. This is called facing the wall, like Bodha Dharma, right? For example, we have talked often about how hitting is not acceptable. Because you hit him, please leave the playground and go to the timeout table for 5 minutes. Please think about how he might have felt when you hit him. All these things done firmly. At the same time, you are not expressing your negativity verbally, facially, or bodily. Finally, redirection. This strategy can work only when you notice a child not following the rules and being uncooperative. Quickly get the child's attention and introduce another activity. Example, please help me to water the flowers now. We have been riding the bike for a very long time and it is now her turn. Please help me now, come here. So you redirect the whole thing. And the child finds that very interesting and very big responsibility. The whole thing gets solved immediately. So we try to put some basic points in 50 minutes. And if you have any questions or you want to add some feedback or whatever, this is your time. I'm waiting for you. Again. Vijayan, I'm surprised you say that patient level in India is lesser. We are stoic. We withstand any amount of discomfort. 350 years of British rule we withstood patiently. And this little punishment, people disagree on what is little. Right? So I never think for a minute that beating a child under any circumstance can be permitted in a mature society. Likewise, humiliating a child, throwing the bags out, calling names, cursing, it sort of robs the well-being of the child. And maybe the antisocial personality disorder, these may be the very seeds for that. So we have to be very careful about the littleness of punishment, how little you punish and all this stuff. Hmm? Yeah, uh, Vijayan tells me that we are, but by nature, India, we are less patient and little punishment is okay, which I don't agree at all. Other question is be cruel only to be kind. It teaches child to see only positive side of life and try to negate. Once again, there is Vijayan. Vijayan, you are being very pessimistic today. Try to negate the fact life is not always rosy. Oh, I heard about this once. A father was trying to teach his 7-year-old son. He put the son on top of a bureau and told him, jump. And the son very cleverly, logically told, no, pa, I'll fall down, I'll hurt myself. And the father told, no, 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 I am here to catch you, jump. And the boy is telling, no, daddy, please, let us not take a risk. And the father saying, no, man, I'll catch you, jump. And finally the boy jumped. And the father folded his hands and kept quiet. Fellow crashed. The father says, that will teach you not to trust anyone under any circumstance. If that kind of being cruel to be kind, I would rather be kinder than cruel. Yeah. I think Vijayan, too many questions from you. We'll wait for somebody else. Yeah, that's it. Looks like Vijayan is agreeing now out of no other way. Okay, friends. Have a nice day. Thank you.